There is a big problem currently going on with the Assassin's Creed franchisee, and with Assassin's Creed Mirage on the horizon, everyone is hoping it to break out of the chain that the recent Assassin's Creed games have been tied to. Now, this video is specifically not about Assassin's Creed Mirage, but the problems that current AC games face in general and what can be done. Of course, we hope that some of the problems should get fixed in Assassin's Creed Mirage, but again, I would not put that much weight on this game considering it is a much smaller title by a much smaller studio. Not doubting their expertise, but Assassin's Creed Mirage does not have a big scope considering it was a Valhalla DLC. But I do think that after Assassin's Creed Mirage, the franchisee should not have any excuses left. Ubisoft recently has had a lot of management issues, so I'm kind of skeptical about this issue. It just does not feel that it's the same Ubisoft that made older Assassin's Creed games. Splinter Cell, Far Cry games, specifically the third one, and let's not forget the Prince of Persia series. It's insane how down they've been going recently. But anyways, I do see a ray of hope seeing games like Star Wars Outlaws coming from Ubisoft. Anyways, what are the problems that current AC games face? I mean, from the top, it's very hard to identify the issue. One of the biggest things I see right now is that the Assassin's Creed franchisee is facing a huge identity crisis right now. Now, it's not to say that they should stop making RPG games specifically or just focus on the hardcore assassin fantasy where it's similar to Assassin's Creed 1. The best example, in my opinion, is of Assassin's Creed Origins, which is obviously an RPG game, but still, it had some things that included the assassin vibe to it. Compared to Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Valhalla, it is still different than those games. Of course, innovation and change is inevitable. If they release a game like Assassin's Creed 1 with just better graphics and different plot, I don't think it's gonna work that good. Now, obviously, people have nostalgia attached with Assassin's Creed 1, so it's gonna pop off in the beginning, but over the time, the effect is gonna fade away. Now, there's also a lot of complications which come with these situations. How can you decide what is the perfect formula? Either you can select the RPG option or the old school Assassin's Creed option. But is it that simple that you only get two options to choose from? No, right? There are a lot more things that factors into it. So I think people should also try to see the developer's perspective. And it is also very hard to make a decision at these points. But I still feel like Ubisoft is a pretty big company, so they have more power to establish a system that people like. Of course, I can talk about all the things, but despite that, I'm still an individual and I'll never be able to generate ideas that Ubisoft can and implement it. What I personally think is that the Assassin's Creed franchisee as a whole should evolve but still maintain its core structure. For example, the focus on parkour, stealth, and good story, and myriads of things that made the older Assassin's Creed games like the Assassin's Creed trilogy so good. With that being said, the combat system needs innovation. The counter system, in my opinion, is just not gonna work in the current scenario where most of the games have a very complex and good combat systems. A good example would be Ghost of Tsushima. I'm a little curious about Assassin's Creed Codename Red, which is supposed to be the next Assassin's Creed game after Assassin's Creed Mirage. And what's more interesting is that it's gonna be a straight rival to Ghost of Tsushima because it is also set in Japan. Yeah, we are finally gonna get an Assassin's Creed in Japan, which was a long time request. I like how Ubisoft is finally listening their fans. It is gonna be an RPG game though. I said before that I actually don't care if the game has RPG elements, but I feel like there's a huge problem of microtransactions that are attached with it. The nature of the RPG games cater that market. I really hate that personally. If you open up Valhalla, their store literally looks like Fortnite store. And I'm not even kidding. Fortnite is a free-to-play game, and that's why that's the only way to monetize it. But it's super annoying having to pay for the game and seeing that buying a specific outfit will give health boost or damage boost. It looks so thirsty in my opinion. Now, what exactly should the Assassin's Creed games retain and what should be gone? I personally think that they should first get rid of non-motion captured dialogues. That's what makes the RPG games so lengthy. Next time people ask you that they liked RPG games because those were lengthier, just say them enjoy the filler content. That's what the most part of the game is. That's how they cut their budgets and make the game longer, and people fall for it, you know. Of course, there's a lot of RPG lovers, you know. and I don't have any problem with it. But when it becomes like this, when people are just saying that the game is big and that's why we like it, I feel like that's pretty stupid. The hand gestures and the way the characters talk and react is very weird in my opinion. Also, the characters don't have any personality because of this. Like, it's just lazy work in my opinion from Ubisoft, and I mean it. It's just very annoying to me, and I can't describe in words that a 14-year-old game like Assassin's Creed 2 had better character animations than the recent Assassin's Creed games. What kind of downgrade is that? Ubisoft literally had such an obvious thing they could work on, but of course they don't. It's very hard to see a franchise you liked fall this hard. Don't get me wrong, I'm waiting for Assassin's Creed Mirage, but the Assassin's Creed games right now just don't give me the sense of satisfaction which the older Assassin's Creed games gave. I just play them because I don't have nothing else to play at this point, quite frankly. You can check my previous video out where I talked about the same problem of non-motion captured dialogues. They are still there in Assassin's Creed Mirage, so I still think, it's not the ideal scenario. Of course, Assassin's Creed Mirage is a step up from the previous games, but it's still a lot below the Assassin's Creed trilogy. Another point that arises from this is the characters. In the older Assassin's Creed games, you generally remembered most of the characters that worked with you, and you got attached with those characters, even though the game was much smaller than these RPG games. But with Valhalla specifically, I did not have that sense of attachment with the characters. I actually forgot a lot of them. In simple terms, the characters lacked the depth which makes the game more interesting to play. For example, in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you remember all the characters and what their personality was. Some turned out to be traitors, some loyal, and some that will give you a very big emotional impact. You just do not feel the same human connection in the stories of the recent Assassin's Creed games, like you did in the older Assassin's Creed games. The Altair missions in Assassin's Creed Revelations had so much depth and gave such a good ending to his journey that I feel like no one can deny that it was not perfect. You just do not see those moments in the current Assassin's Creed games. The stories and the characters are completely flat. There's nothing of substance present there, which most people would agree. I also hate the magical stuff in the games. I mean, Assassin's Creed franchises sure always had fictional elements, but the recent ones straight up have insane magical elements in the game. At least the older Assassin's Creed were much more grounded before. Now, it's just out of control, like this thing. I don't know if this looks like a return to the roots, man. I also liked how the maps were designed before. In the beginning, you are in a specific area, and from there you proceed into another area after a set of quests, or you could say sequences, that kept the game more fresh as we proceeded further in the story. In Assassin's Creed 2, we started in Florence, then went to Monteriggioni, Venice, Tuscany, Forlì, and then coming back to Florence, and in the end we also went to Rome, which was a pretty good sequence, that the whole thing they created like a small stage like thing, that was really cool. And Rome was there in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It was continued from there. That felt very adventurous, and all the places had different vibes to it. The themes of those places were also different. Some places felt more joyful, some felt mysterious, some felt sad, and etc. It was a constant change of the feel. It hovered over the whole emotional spectrum, in my opinion. Ultimately, there is no specific formula that the older Assassin's Creed games followed for their success. The main ingredient, what I think, was the depth in the story and how it progresses from one place to the other. The main thing I see with most of the people is that they think that things are black and white. Of course, I am more inclined towards the old style of gameplay, the traditional Assassin's Creed games, but I actually don't like the combat system of those games anymore. I actually like the combat of a lot of RPG games. So it's kind of taking inspiration from other games and what has worked for those specific games, meanwhile retaining things which made the Assassin's Creed games unique in the first place. And also I mentioned, the character thing. The characters need to have more depth, in my opinion, same like the story. But anyways guys, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like and sub and comment down if you have any thoughts. I'm gonna have a detailed review on Assassin's Creed Mirage when it drops. First I'm gonna have the review of the beginning of the game, how I feel in the beginning. Then I'm gonna complete the game and I'm gonna provide a full review on how the things are and what I like and what I don't. So if you want to see that coming up, make sure to do all the things that I mentioned. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.